This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only.
Fora TV. Idea Immersion. Visit us at www.fora.tv.
Funding for this program is provided by the Surdna Foundation, the Leland Fikes Foundation, and Care2.com.
So can we hear both some ideas for ways to respond to the rhetoric from the right, and also perhaps an October surprise from the administration, but also how we go about getting that message out?
Well, first of all, I think the way to preemptively deal with a possible October surprise is to keep talking every day until we're really sick of hearing ourselves about how this administration has made the country less safe. That is really the key message. That is the key way to prepare the public. And in order to do that, we have to be unambiguous in saying that to win the war on terror, the first step is getting out of Iraq. And to win the war in Iraq, the first step is to stop making ourselves the issue. And while we are there as an occupying force, which is how we are perceived, we are the issue. I think there is nothing more important than that in dealing with an October surprise. In terms of the earlier question about bringing democracy to other countries, well, first of all, let's remind ourselves that this was reason number 5 about why we went into Iraq. Remember, bringing democracy to Iraq was not the way this war was solved. The war was solved because of the WMD presence, which was completely disproved, but nevertheless, democracy was the default position when there were no WMD, and we had to find an explanation as to why we were there. But beyond that, it is absurd to think that you can bring democracy to another country with your military power. I mean, this has never happened before, and it's not happening now. And that's, again, a message which is not complicated to communicate to the American people if we do it every day and if we do it in a unified fashion.
I would add on the democracy front that the simple answer, if you're talking to your neighbor, is I don't want American soldiers dying for politics in another country. And I don't want American soldiers dying to put health care in another country. And my progressive foreign policy vision is we use force to protect Americans and our national security interests. And that's it. And that's a realism position. It's different than a Wilsonian internationalism or something that some might consider more left. But that's where I come down, and I think that's very progressive, that we still have these other priorities. And as Ariana's pointing out, number one, tactically, it is more effective to use diplomacy to advance many of these goals. But we're not going to put U.S. troops on the ground in Africa to build a hospital. We will pay for it. We will join with other countries to work on it. And I think it's clear that Democrats have a strong background in that. And if you talk to your neighbors or you're out, behind enemy lines trying to make this point, people aren't worried that we don't have a human rights idea or a health care idea. They're worried about the way security is being pursued, and I think when you say you don't want to die for politics in another country, that's a way to bottom line it.
Just to follow up on the second question, I think that if there is a big foreign policy problem in October, which a lot of people refer to as a potential October surprise, all that means is that the administration has once again failed in some area of the world.
And I just want to complicate the democracy issue by saying, well, I mean, what does that mean that we're for democracy, but we're not for democracy when Hamas wins the elections? So you're not for democracy when it's someone we don't like. At some level, all democracy is organic. And if you're for democracy, then we have to be willing to deal with democratically elected governments that we don't like, rather than cuddling up to dictators that we do like. It's as simple as that.
This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.
Funding for this program was provided by the Cerdna Foundation, the Leland Fikes Foundation, and Care2.com.